jump right into Lucha.
Let's jump right into Lucha.
You recall the last week's episode ended with a man, as best we can tell, getting his face eaten off.
I have been alerted that I thought he got his face bitten off as well. Actually, I didn't. I thought he got his face scratched off with great claws.
Sure.
You thought he got his face bitten off. I was told that what it was supposed to have been is the crew brought him in, and they brought him to the cage where the monster was, and then they proceeded to bash his face to smithereens on the cage. That's not what it looked like to me.
Not at any point did that occur to me.
But that's what they said happened. But I think that I will make it canon that his face was eaten off, because
Much better.
Your buddy Jim, who's been coming over every Thursday, he also thought the man's face was eaten.
Yeah.
So I may as well go for it.
It's a much better story. Regardless, there's no mention of this and virtually no follow-up at all. Just in Lucha, sometimes guys' faces get removed one way or another.
Well, what did you want? A funeral? He's dead.
Something to happen. But, yeah. So, Chavo met with Dario Cueto. His first words were, and I quote, "Black Lotus has come to kill your brother."
Oh, man. Can you imagine? He turned on her already. What a dick.
So Dario had sent Chavo to take care of Black Lotus. He was appalled that Dragon Azteca had gotten to Lotus before Chavo did. Chavo said, "Look, Azteca must have a man on the inside. But what's really important is that the Guerreros are always loyal to the highest bidder." And Dario began to pile up large stacks of cash. Chavo explained what he really wanted was round-the-clock protection from Mexico. The entire nation, apparently.
Whole nation wants Chavo dead.
And Dario can protect him.
And what I love about this is the storyline is that Dario's monster, Matanza, I believe is its name. Matanza killed Angela Fong's parents.
Right.
Okay? Matanza is so terrifying that he is locked inside a cage in Dario Cueto's office. Now, I went to the zoo last week. There's bears and there's tigers, and they're all locked in cages. Why?
To stop them from killing people.
To keep them from killing me.
Right.
Not vice versa. So Matanza's locked in this cage, and apparently Dario Cueto is so worried that Black Lotus is going to kill his fucking brother that he needs to have her killed. This doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I don't know.
You're worried about it? Well, put her in the fucking ring with Matanza. It sounds like he'd get the job done. He just ate a guy's face last week.
As best we can tell, yeah. No, it really doesn't make sense. But anyway, Dario...
But it entertains me.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
That's true. Dario agreed and said, "Let's discuss what you really want." They moved on. Jack Evans versus Argenis. Jack looked awesome this week. I mean, he always has great offense. Always has cool dives and stuff. But he carried himself like the star of stars. And he came off looking completely major league here.
Actually, you know who he came off looking like? He started to look like his dad.
I don't know his dad.
You never met his dad?
If I did, I've forgotten.
Jack Sr., the king of Parkland, I might add.
Sure.
He looks just like him, except he's got longer hair.
So there was a point here where Argenis hit a blatant foul. And as the ref was warning Argenis, "Don't kick the man in the balls," Jack got to his feet and screamed, "My testicles!" Just to let us all know what had happened. They went outside. Jack got powerbombed into the railing. And then Argenis hit Kenny Omega's one-winged angel, or something very close to it, for a near fall. And then Jack hit a backslide with a full bridge for the pin.
Wow.
This looked very, very cool and very, very silly.
I've been thinking about this a while, all these people that are starting to look like their fathers. Like, all the Hart brothers, I don't know if you've seen them lately, but they're all starting to look like Stu.
Yeah, yeah.
And when they were young, they looked nothing like him. And I never thought Jack Evans really looked like his dad. I mean, I could see like a resemblance, but I never thought they looked like each other. Now he started to look exactly like his dad. And I've noticed other people as well that as they get older, they really, really start to look like their parents.
I have to make sure I keep a different haircut from my dad, because if I don't, I look exactly like him. And it's actually, that's been that way for like 10 years.
How about that?
Yeah.
Because I never thought I looked like my parents. I don't think I look like my dad yet. But I'm starting to think it may be coming, which I'm cool with.
Your hair will need to be a lot whiter.
That's true.
Yeah.
His hair is very white. Like, it's not gray at all. It's white.
No, it's white.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention, by the way, before the match, Dario Cueto came out and said, nobody cares about you two, so to make this interesting, the winner's going to get one of my magic medallions.
Well, he didn't quite say that. What he
said no one cares about Argenis.
He buried Argenis, and Jack was howling and saying, it's true, no one cares about you. And then he said, well, Jack, you lost last time. And Jack was like, fuck you.
Yeah.
And so he said, I'm going to make this exciting. And he put the medallions on the line.
Daivari and Big Rick had a meeting backstage. They said they were getting a trios title shot tonight, but they needed to pick a partner.
There's a Kickboxer 2 here.
It was, actually. So Willie Mack, who was Rick's cousin, said, I'll be your partner. And Cage stepped in and said, no, I'll be your partner. And to prove he could be a good partner, he beat the fuck out of Willie Mack.
Poor Willie Mack.
And he destroyed this man, left him lying. Daivari was very happy, and Rick, who is Mack's cousin, was not so happy.
He was disappointed, but he accepted the decision because the Mac had failed.
This is life.
Spectacularly.
Yes. We will have a better chance of winning with this Cage chap than my cousin. Chavo met with Black Lotus. So Dario had agreed to let her compete in the temple. While she was doing that, Chavo said, I'll get the key and free the monster.
That was his plan.
And as I typed this...
So she could get to him.
Yeah. As I typed that, I accidentally put an H in monster, perhaps subconsciously.
Monster.
Can you imagine if monster is what's in that cage?
I hope it is. If you guys don't remember, monster, that's how they spelled the monster.
He was in AAA.
Yeah.
Which is, of course, where most of these guys have come from.
And he was awesome.
I guess.
I mean, he was terrible, but it was awesome. Why couldn't they spell it right?
I don't know. I'm looking for...
Why was there an H in monster?
If you Google it, it just comes with pictures of the clowns. Well, although one of them would be actually even better.
Yeah.
Murder Clown.
Murder Clown would be
Holy
a good brother.
Shit. Can you imagine Murder Clown exposed to a U.S. audience?
Yeah.
Get people running from the television in terror.
Yeah. Hey, they're redoing it, I think.
They are.
Except something went wrong. Anyway.
All right. So anyway, that's Chavo's plan. And then I'm not sure what happened.
Holy shit. Just Google Murder Clown.
Sounds like a terrible idea.
Don't specify and see what's there on Google image search.
Murder Clown. That's a bunch of scary looking clowns.
I don't know what's scarier, the clowns that are made up to look like killer clowns, or this happy clown down here with balloons who just happens to be pointing at me. Don't point at me! And then when you click on it, it is an article from deathandtaxesmag.com.
Yeah, that particular clown, Ryan, is very scary.
And the headline is, Mexican drug lord murdered by clown.
Oh, that's not what I thought it would be. Yeah, the scary clown pointing at you. Yeah, that's John Wayne Gacy.
I don't like that guy.
No. No, you should not. Anyway, moving on. So, I'm not sure who honestly made the first move here, but suddenly Black Lotus and Chavo were fighting.
Can't be the real Gacy. It's got to be like a...
Maybe we're looking at different photos, but this here is a photo of John Wayne Gacy.
Huh. Maybe look at different ones. Anyway.
Yep. So suddenly Chavo and Black Lotus are having a kung fu fight in the locker room. She's going all Jeet Kune Do on his ass. And the surviving members of the crew try to jump her, and she's kicking their ass too. And there's the cameras following them around the locker room, and there's dramatic music playing, and it's all very, very cool.
Are you sure that's Gacy? Because I'm looking at a clown pointing at me, and it says Pennywise from Stephen King's It.
Yeah, that's Pennywise then. We're looking at different pictures.
Okay.
But I'm not in the same computer, Brian.
Well, I know, but we both Googled the same thing.
Yeah?
And I had a clown pointing at me, and so did you.
Yes, technically he's
I'm
waving.
looking at the one. He's waving, you idiot. I see what you're looking at now. Okay, go on.
All right.
And yes, that's even more fucking horrifying.
That's the most horrifying, yes.
How the fuck? Look at that guy.
Must we?
Actually, yes. Who invited that guy to a kid's birthday party?
I don't know.
I mean, forget it's John Wayne Gacy. Look at that guy. You're going to invite that guy to your kid's birthday party?
It's not the best decision.
Nothing about that at all looks fan-friendly or child-friendly. Jesus Christ, look at that.
I found the picture of Pennywise you're talking about.
That's a scary one, too.
He's pointing.
All right, let's move on.
That got really uncomfortable.
But you see what I'm trying to say?
Yes, he does not look like a clown that would make children laugh.
Like, there are clowns that are funny that you could invite to a child's birthday party, but holy shit, look at that clown. It's the 70s, everybody.
Anyway, so they're having this kung fu fight scene. And Black Lotus is whipping all their ass. But then Chavo jumps in from behind, lays her out with a club, and pulls out a pair of handcuffs. And that's where it ended.
It's not looking good for her.
No, it got worse later. Delavar, Daivari, and Cage and Big Rick versus Son of Havoc and Ivelisse and Angelico. Ivelisse still has a broken leg and crutches. So I ranted a week or two ago about Hideo Itami and Finn Balor not getting along on NXT, and I'm sick of this gimmick. As is often the case, Lucha Underground is the exception.
And they make it work. I don't even know how.
There's so many things on the show that should not work, but they work on the show. And these guys pull off the bickering tag team that can't get along and are baby faces, and they make it work.
Hey, you know why it works? I'm going to tell you exactly why it works. It works because a lot of times when you see the tag team that can't get along, they can't get along and they fight and they fuck up something and they lose and they look like morons. This is a feuding tag team that they always, at the end of the day, it's like a buddy movie. They don't get along at all. Maybe not a buddy movie, but you know what I mean. Two people that can't get along at all, but when the chips are down, they work together and they succeed.
That's a good point.
And so you come across, they're very likable. It's like they get the fucking job done in the end. They bitch and they complain and they get mad at each other, but at the end of the day, they get the job done. They deliver. That's what this team does. So I think that's why it works as opposed to in WWE or especially in TNA where you have the team that hates each other and they always fuck up and they lose left and right and they're just idiots. You never think of this team as an idiot team because they're always winning. Not only do they not get along, but Ivelisse, and God bless her for putting on her gear every week even though she can't work, she's not even in the match. So it's 2 against 3.
Yeah.
And they still achieve.
Yes.
So that's one of the main reasons it works.
So Ivelisse at one point, they ran wild for a while, even while bickering, until finally Angelico got caught in the heel corner and triple teamed. And Ivelisse was so pissed at everything caught, and so pissed at Havoc for not helping, that she could take no more, and she just went to sit in the stands and yell at them. She sat amongst the people and screamed.
Yes.
It was excellent. So it's a tag match. They got the heat on them. They had a great power spot where Rick picks up Angelico for a long suplex. And he's holding him, and then he tags in Cage. And Cage comes in, and Rick just passes Angelico off. And Cage is holding him. And I was hoping they'd just pass him back and forth for like 5 minutes.
Sure.
But then Cage just suplexed him.
He did squats first.
He did his squats first, that's true. So the ending was very abrupt. Ivelisse was on the apron. Daivari went after her. And Tejano came out and distracted Daivari. And Angelico hit a absolutely batshit crazy running flip dive over the corner to the floor.
And think about that when you've seen what he's done over the last couple of weeks. That we considered batshit crazy.
Honestly, this may have been more nuts than the dives off the office.
Oh, I don't know. It was close.
I don't recommend trying these at home. That's for sure. And then Son of Havoc pinned Daivari with a shooting star press. And this all came out of nowhere. Like that whole finish took less than 30 seconds. It felt like they went long and got the order to take it home immediately.
Well, they could always edit it. It was just, I don't know. It was great. It was a fun little match. And Angelico is more awesome every time I see him. I don't know if I think everybody there had to sign the 7-year deals, which is too bad because, well, I guess it's not too bad because he's great on this show, but I can't imagine WWE not salivating for this guy if they actually got a chance to see him. He's tall. He's a good-looking kid. He looks great in the ring. He gets better literally every single time I see him, he's better. And he was great here. I got to say one thing that I criticism. This Tejano guy, they have not done enough to establish this guy in relation to everybody else on the show. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's shown up a couple of times. He's had a couple of matches. He kind of fades in and out of the program. I don't care about the guy as a viewer. They just haven't done enough with him, I don't think. It feels like I've missed like tons of shows, but I've missed none.
Chavo and the crew brought Black Lotus into Cueto's office. Cueto was happy and said, "Let's take her to see my brother." Then we never saw them again. Maybe she did get her face eaten. I haven't thought of that. So you know how sometimes you'll be watching a good show and there's a bad main event and it just ruins the entire show for you?
Yeah, often.
Pentagon versus Sexy Star in a submission match. God bless Pentagon. God bless Sexy Star. I don't know who put this together, but it came off bad.
This is the one thing in season 2 they've just got to change. Let me tell you something. This was not as bad as your usual Sexy Star match where some guy just comes in and just beats the shit out of her. Because actually, she was winning on him for the majority of the match. The problem was, it's very difficult to do women in wrestling, women working against men. But it kind of worked for a while with China. And if, for example, they put together Ronda Rousey versus Demetrius Johnson, just throwing out a name of another small man, or Christ, they're both 135. If you put like Ronda Rousey versus Uriah Faber or something like that, maybe he's not the best. But the point of this is, I think there are people that believe that Ronda Rousey against the right guy, Ronda Rousey would give this fucker a beating and she'd win. Sexy Star is not Ronda Rousey. They try to compare her to Ronda Rousey and Danica Patrick. I don't know shit about sports, but even I knew that was ridiculous. They're trying to compare her to all of these great women sports stars, and God bless her. I have nothing against Sexy Star, but she's just a girl. She's not particularly big. She's not particularly muscular. She's not particularly aggressive. She's not particularly athletic. There's nothing about her where when you watch it, you think she could beat the shit out of Pentagon Jr. So she goes in there and she beats the shit out of Pentagon Jr.
Yeah.
And yes, at the end of the day, he won with his inverted surfboard. But let me tell you something. If you've been listening to this show for a while, you know that Pentagon Jr. many weeks was my favorite wrestler. I thought this guy is so badass. This guy should be the champion. This guy looks like a guy that would just beat the shit out of everybody. He's broken people's arms. What a badass. When this match was over, he was a guy. He was a random masked geek on the Lucha Underground roster. I didn't take him seriously as a badass. I didn't come out of the show thinking this guy needs to be the champion. He was just a guy. I could not, if I tried my hardest, find a better way to take the edge off Pentagon other than sending him on a long losing streak. But him coming out here and getting his ass whooped, which was the exact words of Vampiro, she's whooping his ass. Him coming out here and getting his ass whooped by Little Sexy Star and needing help in the end from Superfly in order to beat her. I mean, man, oh man. They're clearly building up something with Pentagon and Vampiro. And I actually heard that when the match finally takes place, it's like awesome and the place goes batshit crazy for it. So hopefully they just rehab the guy from now on. But as a fan, today, after watching this show, I don't care about Pentagon Jr. I never thought I'd say that. But he's just a dude now.
The key is, it's not like she fought from underneath and had some hope spots. It's not even that they went 50-50. She beat the fuck out of him. She manhandled him. And I'm looking at this thinking, she's 110 pounds. He's 180, maybe? I don't know, but...
Oh, he's way... Well, I don't know.
Point is, having the itty-bitty person beat up the person much bigger than her looked silly. It would be like if you redid Brock Lesnar versus John Cena at SummerSlam, only instead of Brock Lesnar laying down the beating, it was Jamie Noble. I love Jamie Noble, but that would have looked silly. And this all looked silly. And
it's just like, it's not even so much the size. Rey Mysterio could have believable matches with bigger guys. But if you're Sexy Star, there's got to be one thing, like one thing that she has that's like world class. It ain't her flying. It ain't her size. It ain't her physique. It ain't her perceived aggression. Like, name one thing that Sexy Star has that you can look at it and go, okay, if she put this one talent to use, I believe that she could get the best of Pentagon in a certain situation. I can't think of one thing. That's why it doesn't work.
yeah.
If she could fly like Jack Evans, or, I don't know, have the face of Ronda Rousey when she comes out of the ring where you think, holy shit, someone's going to die. She has none of that. None of it. And they push her like she's Brock Lesnar in this match.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
No. So poor Pentagon, as you noted, maybe this will probably work out okay in the end, but our buddy Jim was here. He's only seen like 3 episodes of this show ever. He pointed out Pentagon went from getting his ass kicked by the woman to feuding with the old washed-up announcer.
Yeah, but that'll work.
That's how it came off on TV here.
I know, but when Vampiro went and banged his head on the glass,
There was a closing angle.
that was awesome.
Vampiro was alone in the locker room. His hands were in the sink, leaking
Well,
stuff in
tell
the
him what
mirror.
happened first.
Oh, yeah. Well, the finish, I guess we hinted on it, but specifically, Sexy, after kicking Pentagon's ass for 50 minutes or whatever, she trapped him in a half crab, and Pentagon was fucked. There was no hope for him. And out ran Superfly, who had lost his mask to Sexy due to that whole stupid storyline. And he ran out, and he punched her in the face. He powerbombed her. He passed her off to Pentagon, and Pentagon was confused, but he hit a package pile driver and then a surfboard for the submission win. And then he was going to break Sexy's arm afterwards, as he's broken so many arms before. But Vampiro leapt up from the announce desk, hit the ring, barreled into Pentagon to break it up. Place is going nuts chanting Vampiro's name. And Pentagon was ready to fight, but Vampiro started to I don't know, he had a crisis of sorts.
He had second thoughts. What the fuck am I doing?
Yes, exactly. Thank you. And he left the ring and went backstage, and that was where the quote unquote live portion of the show ended. And then we go backstage, and Vampiro has his hands on the sink in the locker room. He is looking in the mirror, and we hear clips of himself doing commentary, things he's said over the past several months. Things like, I had to go to dark places. I did bad things to good people. Very, very ominous things he said.
That's right.
And then he began to bash his face into the mirror. He did not bleed. He broke the mirror several times, and then ended with Vampiro looking at his own shattered image of himself. That was awesome.
Yeah.
This is a very, very fun show if you pretend that main event didn't happen.
I heard that when they finally do the match with Pentagon and Vampiro, that the place just goes just nuts. So I guess they'll turn it around, but they fucking better be rehabbing poor Pentagon, because he came out of this a dude. That's the worst thing that can happen in wrestling, when you come out of something just a dude. But hey, still a good show. I enjoyed it. I just was not a big fan of that main event right there. Let's do a song, and then away. Can you imagine if she won? Holy shit, meltdown I'd have here. Let's play a quick song, and then we'll be on our way. What have we got here? Here we go.